I thank the Speaker, I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I rise in very strong opposition to this rule. Yet again, this majority is stifling debate and limiting opportunities for members on both sides of the aisle to have a say in how we fund vital and some not so vital spending programs. Unfortunately, this time it comes at the expense of some of our nation's most vulnerable citizens. Mr. Speaker, I'm here because I had hoped to debate an amendment that would benefit every school in America and begin to fulfill a commitment that has been slighted by Congress for far too long. This amendment, offered by Mr. Tiahrt of Kansas and myself, would have provided critical support for the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA. This act was created in 1975 to help states provide a free, appropriate public education for children with disabilities. At that time, Congress told the states Congress would provide 40% of the excess cost of educating these students. Now, almost 35 years later, that funding stands below 17%, and even with the one-time spike of the stimulus bill, we fall far short of the 40%. We're overdue in keeping our promises here. We must fulfill this commitment. Our amendment would have taken a small step toward that goal by giving IDEA an additional $1 billion this year. Had it been ruled in order, this amendment would have increased funding for IDEA to 18.3% and put us on a course toward meeting this obligation for the long term. This may be seen as a small step, but Mr. Tiahrt and I believe it is time to put first things first. And that means living up to our funding commitments under IDEA before we create and expand unnecessary programs that are contained in this bill. If we were to fully fund IDEA, our local schools would have more of their own money to use for their specific needs, whether that is recruiting new teachers, investing in technology, reducing class sizes, or encouraging community service. Mr. Speaker, this is exactly the kind of amendment that should have been made in order. It is 100% germane. It addresses priorities within the confines of the jurisdiction of this bill. Should we spend more money on a new program, or should we meet our commitment? We, the members of this body, all of us, ought to have the chance to say where those priorities lie. Do they lie with our schools across the board, every school in America? Do they lie with our children with special needs, or do they lie with some new program? That is a fair debate and one we ought to be having. What's happened is perhaps the chairman, perhaps the Rules Committee chairman, perhaps leadership on the other side has decided what those priorities ought to be, and the rest of us will have no say in making that determination. This body is supposed to have the opportunity to represent our constituents, represent our best judgment, and give us a say in where those priorities are, and this rule denies that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.